So I just want to talk about the future real quickly. Although the future isn't 100% predicated on fact, with critical thinking, you can make some inferences by reading the signs. Um, Reading the signs of what humanity and society is susceptible to. And the agenda is propagated to us. So I just want to start off by reading an excerpt from my book called Stating the Obvious. And it's entitled Option 1, and it reads: Robots do not become sentient, but take the jobs of the working class. The gap between rich and poor creates an economic shift where the working class become poor. Store-bought food and other luxuries is only affordable for the rich. The poor have to learn how to survive like cavemen. The poor succeed in adapting to the economic shift. The rich realize that their store-bought food is not healthy because it is chemically grown. Their store-bought food rot their teeth and kills them quicker. The rich must learn to survive from the poor people since they, the poor people, learned how to survive naturally. Money is now useless and life more peaceful. So this is dissecting a few things. 1, robots and AI. 2, food and survival. And 3, money. So robots. Society is living through a historical time where robots are literally taking people's jobs. You see major companies like Google, like Amazon, laying off a multitude of people. Jobs that are mechanical, pun intended, are being taken by robots. In addition to that, I just saw on the news that many companies are removing the requirement for bachelor's degrees. So a couple things come to mind. First off, degrees and schooling is going to become irrelevant pretty soon. And that's not necessarily a bad or a good thing depending on how you look at it, because getting an education is not the same as schooling, and you don't necessarily get an education from school. Apart from that, bachelor's degrees. People that already have bachelor's degrees are now at a disadvantage. Why are they at a disadvantage? Well, because companies, since they removed the bachelor's, if and when they remove the bachelor's degree requirement for certain positions, people with bachelor's degrees it's going to be hard for you to get jobs, basically, because companies can now underpay you. Because if they remove the bachelor's degree requirement, a person who fills out an application and has a bachelor's degree, they're going to have in mind, okay, I went to school for so many years and I'm in debt because of school and I have to survive. I need money. So they might fill out an application and say, I want at least a salary of $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, right? And a person who doesn't have a bachelor's degree might just want, they'll take anything, $20,000, $30,000 a year for a certain job that you should be getting paid, $50,000 to $70,000 a year. So now companies can go with a person who is willing to be underpaid instead of the person who is qualified in the sense that they have a bachelor's degree instead. Apart from that, food and surviving. I mentioned that the rich are going to be the only group of people who can afford store-bought food. But it'll get to a certain point where they realize that it's rotting their teeth and killing them quicker because it's all chemically grown. Look at how fast food places are now. In addition to that, compare and contrast the ingredients of food in the US to anywhere else, like the UK, right? Food now in the US are all pesticides. That is common knowledge. In addition to that, the ingredients in our food compared to other people is ridiculous. The United States is the only nation that thinks food and water is not a human right. And just to quickly correct myself, it's the US and Israel are the only two countries who think water and food are not human rights. And that's not me just making this up. You can literally look that up. It was, I don't want to misquote it, but you can look that up. If you look at the ingredients on the back of anything, I don't care what it is, and as long as it's not organic, look at the ingredients of it. Why is there 70 ingredients for a hot dog bun? Take fries at a fast food place. There's so many ingredients for no reason. And then you compare that to a McDonald's in the UK, and it's like 3 ingredients that you need to make fries. But we have so many chemicals in our stuff, so many added ingredients that we don't even know how to pronounce and don't know what it is. Why is it like that? If water was to go away today, right? Well, first off, we already pay for water. That shouldn't even be a thing. If you go to a gas station, you have to pay for water. But let's say all water was wiped out, right? And it just magically started raining. The government would figure out a way to hoard all that water and charge people crazy prices for it. That's not a crazy thought, considering what we already have lived through and currently living. So, in conclusion, I just want to say that the hierarchy of the rich, middle class, poor people is going to be non-existent, by the way. Non-existent in the sense that the middle class are going to disappear. It's going to be only rich and poor. In other words, it's going to be about what you have and what you don't have. The haves and the have-nots. The middle class, a lot of people, there are a lot of theories that say the middle class is just an illusion. Because really the middle class uphold the rich. The rich don't work. The middle class, that's why they're called the working class, because the middle class work all day until they die. The middle class uphold the rich. The only reason the working class are the working class is because the rich don't want to work. And also, just to elaborate on my comments about the rich not wanting to work, an individual may become so financially abundant that they have the option to not work. Also, they may be so consumed with their business that they may not have the time to do certain jobs or do not want to. Therefore, they can create jobs for the people who are willing to do so, like the middle and working class. But this becomes convoluted when you introduce robots into the picture because you don't have to pay robots. This also coincides with the bachelor's degrees in regard to how companies are removing the bachelor's degree requirements, because it's a gray area between if you're qualified to do something versus accepting the fact that you will be underpaid. But with robots, if the rich were to say, I don't want to give the middle class any more jobs, just let the robots do it. Boom, the middle class is no longer. Now it's the middle class. The middle class become poor. So it's just rich, poor, haves, and have-nots. The middle class and poor people need to unite. Whatever the future may bring, we need to unite. And it should not be about ego. It should not be about power. Once we unite, and especially if we get to the point where it's about the haves and the have-nots and the hierarchy, the financial hierarchy is just rich and poor, if the rich say the hell with middle class and poor people, middle class and poor people need to unite and create whatever world we want to. That is power in itself. We have to let go of our egos. We have to let go of desire to a certain extent. And it has to be about us for a change, about us, about what we need and how we can create it.